slim figure, while over his left arm hung a gray tweed Norfolk coat. From his right hand dangled a pair of trousers, in pattern a modish black and white. Jock eyed the gray garment on his arm with moody eyes. "Well, I'd like to know what's the matter with it," he demanded, a trifle irritably. Emma McChesney, in the act of surveying her back hair in the mirror, paused, hand glass poised halfway, to regard her son. "All right," she answered cheerfully, "I'll tell you. It's too young." "Young?" He held it at arm's length and stared at it. "What do you mean, young?" Emma McChesney came forward, wrapping the folds of her kimono about her. She took the disputed garment in one hand and held it aloft. "I know that you look like a man on a magazine cover in it, but Norfolk suits spell tennis and seashore and elegant leisure, and you're going out this morning, son, to interview businessmen. You're going to try to impress the advertising world with the fact that it needs your expert services. You walk into a business office in a Norfolk suit, and everybody from the office boy to the president of the company will ask you what your score is." She tossed it back over his arm. "I'll wear the black and white," said Jock resignedly, and turned toward his own room. At his doorway he paused and raised his voice slightly. "For that matter, they're looking for young men. Everybody's young. Why, the biggest men in the advertising game are just kids." He disappeared within his room, still talking. "Look at McQuirk, advertising manager of the Combs Car Company. He's so young he has to disguise himself in bone-trimmed eyeglasses with a black ribbon to get away with it. Look at Hooper of the Berg Schreider Company. Pulls down $90,000 a year, and if he's 35, I'll—" "Well, you asked my advice," interrupted his mother's voice, with that muffled effect which is caused by a skirt being slipped over the head, "and I gave it. Wear a white duck sailor suit with blue anchors and carry a red tin pail and a shovel if you want to look young. Only get into it in a jiffy, son, because breakfast will be ready in 10 minutes. I can tell by the way Annie's crashing the cups, so step lively if you want to pay your lovely mother's subway fare." 10 minutes later, the slim, young figure, in its English-fitting black and white, sat opposite Emma McChesney at the breakfast table, and between excited gulps of coffee, outlined a meteoric career in his chosen field. And the more he talked, and the rosier his figures of speech became, the more silent and thoughtful fell his mother. She wondered if 5 o'clock would find a droop to the set of those young shoulders, if the springy young legs in their absurdly scant modish trousers would have lost some of their elasticity, if the buoyant step in the flat-heeled shoes would not drag a little. 13 years of business experience had taught her to swallow smilingly the bitter pill of rebuff, but this boy was to experience his first dose today. She felt again that sensation of almost physical nausea, that sickness of heart and spirit which had come over her when she had met her first sneer and intolerant shrug. It had been her maiden trip on the road for the T.A. Buck Featherloom Petticoat Company. She was secretary of that company now, and moving spirit in its policy. But the wound of that first insult still ached. A word from her would have placed the boy and saved him from curt refusals. She withheld that word. He must fight his fight alone. "I want to write the kind of ad," Jock was saying excitedly, "that you see 'em staring at in the subways and streetcars and L trains. I want to sit across the aisle and watch their upturned faces staring at that oblong and reading it aloud to each other." "Isn't that an awfully obvious necktie you're wearing, Jock?" inquired his mother irrelevantly. "This? You ought to see some of them. This is a Quaker stock in comparison." He glanced down complacently at the vivid-hued silken scarf that the season's mode demanded. Immediately he was off again, "And the first thing you know, Mrs. McChesney, ma'am, we'll have a motor truck backing up at the door once a month, and 6 strong men carrying my salary to the freight elevator in sacks." Emma McChesney buttered her bit of toast, then looked up to remark quietly, "Hadn't you better qualify for the trial?"